Talk to Me Dad. This is another segment of Talk to Me Dad, an opportunity I feel that is such a gift to taking this time to talk to brothers of all cultures and being able to express their point of view, or more than anything, their hearts, or what it's like being a dad. Being able to have this blessed opportunity to dig deep and to just come from a very space of authenticity, of being able to check in from our heart space, not from our head space, but even though they both work together, but coming from our heart space to respond to this asking, talk to me, Dad. So right now, this evening, I'm blessed to have a dear brother, beautiful soul, kinfolk in some regards, I would even say in terms of spirit. This is Brother Wallerboi.
Good.
Just want to give thanks to have you here, beloved.
Appreciate you. Bro.
And you're, Wallerboi. For those of you all who don't know him, some of y'all may know him from a distance. But this is Wallerboi, who is also known as a rapper, but also an amazing entrepreneur in his own rights. But above all, to me, I find to be more important is the reason why I wanted to do this interview with you is your father. You're blessed to have 5 children. And in the midst of that, man, you, in my blessings and opportunities to come connecting with you, visiting you at your home, I'm just really touched of how you show your love and fatherhood and supporting your children. It's more than just, I say a father, dad, and it's to me, even with your relationship with your children, is to see how you relate to your beloved, your queen, your spouse, as some may call it, but how you uplift her, in the presence of your sons, to have them have an idea of what it's like to, or how it's like to treat a woman, but never alone their mom. We know of past or also stories that we have heard, which I don't want to focus on that space on a low frequency, but just operating on a high frequency, having the pleasure of visiting you. I mean, it's endearing. I think that's one of my strongest pull towards you was seeing how you treat your woman, how you treat your queen, how you treat your beloved, and also how you all work together just to work towards the success of your children, of their involvement with sports and creativity, the beauty you have in your home. So my reason I'm doing Talk to Me Dad is wanted to have other brothers out here hear that side of it, what it's like being a dad. So if you don't mind me just asking you the question, just saying to me, talk to me, Dad, what it's like being a father, man.
Oh man, it's nothing but love. It's nothing but love, brother. Like I enjoy to be able to come home to a peace of mind, just to see my kids smiling just because I'm there. That's everything for me. I can leave from a world full of craziness, and when I get home, all that just stop. Just they family, everything to me.
So it's interesting to hear you say to leave the world of crazy and come home, and it's like that's your kingdom, or that's your space where you get to be you. But for some people to say come home to 5 children can feel just as chaotic. So how I'm hearing you say that, but I'd love to hear your heart around that.
Yes, sir. I actually had a couple homeboys say that to me. I was the only child. So at the end of the day, like my mom's, she always said a man's supposed to take care of his family by any means. She not a man, she a woman. So I was me seeing how she just handled a lot of situations, and I had to see it, made me want to be, a better man. It was like, how could you allow a woman to have to just go through all that on her own? I was like, I just didn't want that for my family. Like, just to even have my queen just go through anything. She shouldn't have never had to go through anything by herself if I'm there. Even when I'm not there, she know I'm there. So that's what I let my kids know, like, anything they need, anytime you need to talk to me, I'm here. Cause like I said, me coming up, I ain't had nobody to call. I couldn't call nobody. I'm the only child. You know, and if I did make a call, it leads to something else.
Yeah.
You know, so I just learned to handle everything on my own. You know, so and that right there just alone, that's why I tell people about the family part. Like when I come home to my family, that's everything for me. Just to see their faces. I know somebody about to come downstairs if they not already downstairs. And the first thing they say is, Dad, I love you. I'm glad you're back. Back from work? What'd you do? Come here, Dad. Let me show you something. I've been doing this today. I be like, man, you know, it makes it even better for me just to turn that switch off. You know, because I know I have to. Because again, I just don't want to see them go through nothing that I went through. Everything I did so they don't have to go through it. I definitely don't want my family to go through none of the stuff I had to go through.
You know, you just hit on something. First of all, let me just say that is my heart just like jumped. You know, it's endearing, and more so because you actually tapped into a memory for me when you said to come home and say, "Hey, Dad, I love you." Da 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 da. And I have to admit, man, the way that I was raised was very similar. But the difference between you and I have 7 siblings, and I could not wait to get home to be with my siblings when I would come home, you know, as a child growing up, because that was my world, you know what I mean? And for me to hear you say that, to come home and being the only child, but to hear noise around the house, it's like it brought joy to you. And for your children to have that comfort of just feeling comfortable to say, hey, Dad, because children don't care anyway. They're going to, whether you want to or not, but you have the patience to be there. So for me, talk to me, Dad, it should, for me, and my purpose of doing this is like what you just said. My prayers and my desire behind that is that is the norm. It shouldn't feel like, oh my gosh, you're like, really? Oh my, wow, it should be the opposite.
Right.
To say that, yeah, man, I avoid coming home. You know, because man, just too many children, you know, and I got it. You know, this to me, and you sharing that space feels in my heart and space of the norm. And I literally grew up with that as a norm. So to hear you sharing that, but the piece that gets me when you say, in regards of coming home and being able to not let them go through some of the things that you were challenged with growing up as a child. Are you willing to expound on that? What do you mean by that? What was it about your upbringing that you would not want your child? And, you know, we had this conversation in another Talk to Me, Dad, where, excuse my language, but it's just a language and we can put it with the word cat. But, you know, I was talking to a friend of ours who we both know, Zoe, and we was talking about the word pussy. Like we would take that word and we would put that on a male, like, oh man, you little pussy, or you little weak, or you know, you act like a sissy. But in reality, if you turn that around, I say, call me a pussy, call me weak, call me, because to be a woman, a single mom, to bear a child, to lay in that bed, to let that baby come out of you, to me, to me, you're talking about strength. And you know, and where some men, I feel at times, we don't see that power because we take it for granted based on how society has presented it, to the point that we will talk someone down or call them a sissy or a punk and say, no, call me that, because the strength that she bears, call me that.
Like I said, like same way how you said you had 7 siblings.
Yes, sir.
I grew up in a family the same way. Like my grandmother, all her kids lived with her, and my mother was the first one to move out. And when we moved out, we moved down Lexington Terrace, down the projects, and it was like a big change for me because I came from out of home. Again, I came from out this home where as though my uncles, my cousins, my grandmother, my aunts, everybody there. All my cousins, everybody, we all there. So I came from this to go to a neighborhood where it was already set up how it was. If you're not from down there, you're not supposed to be there. You know, so I had to go through just. I'm not from there. I had to fight every day. Every day. It didn't matter, you know, what it was. I had to fight. Everybody else had somebody to call. After a while, it was just like my mother knew my aunts had stayed around there, and she was like, I don't want to call nobody, and you know. So she was like, you're gonna have to, you know, be the man. Like you're gonna have to fight them. You can't do this. You gotta be a man. At 5 years old, I had a key.
Oh wow!
I was a latchkey kid at 5. I turned 6 like 2 months before I got my key, and I had to be a man. That's why I was trying. You know, I tell people like I had to grow up early, and that's what I mean by I don't want my kids to have to go through the things that I had to go through. And by me saying that was, it took for me to fight every day for me to get accepted by the guys that I was with. So as I got older, if it took for me to fight for me to get accepted, the next thing was going to be, you know, what else I got to do to be accepted? So after a while, it was like, no, man, you from, you know, this way you from now. It was like, you know, so it was like an acceptance for me. I didn't think
like initiation, like proving yourself.
Right. I didn't think nobody's supposed to do that. If anybody knows about Lexington Terrace, they don't let anybody just come down there. If you're not from there, you can't come there. So I went through that, and to my mom, she tried to move me away. Like she moved to Virginia to stay with my uncle. He was staying down in Norfolk. You know, we got family down in Norfolk, Virginia. Shout out to Norfolk, Virginia. I stayed down there with him, and they got a big house, nice house, good family, everything. He's the Marines. He's, you know, he like to get in your face and yell, da 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 da, and I just wasn't with that. I'm the only child. You're not gonna yell at me. What are you yelling at me for? Like, you know, you could talk to me. I listen. So I didn't like it up there. So I was like, I call him up every day. I'm like, Ma, I know you don't want me back home, but I didn't do nothing. Let me come home. I don't want to be up here. She was like, I don't want you here, because it was just, you know, it's so crazy. It's so crazy, so many things. She didn't want me to get caught up in so many just things, because as I said, I had to prove myself. You know, so that's what I went through. It was just that. I was like, I didn't want my kids to have to fight for something that I already fought for. Everything I did, I know why I did it. I'm here. I went through everything I had to go through so I could show them this is the way you're supposed to do it. So it's like life. It's like life. It's like, I didn't think, I be telling my kids now, stay a kid. Stay a kid. Enjoy it. I wish y'all could stay young for the rest of your life. I do. But enjoy being a kid. They be like, Dad, that's what I'm gonna do. You don't have no job. Your job is school. Your job is school. I did all the working for you. Only thing I want to do is be able to show you how not to be a worker. I want you to be a boss. I don't want you to be a worker. I want you to be a boss. They're like, Dad, I'm going to school, and they doing great at school. All of them now, like, even through the COVID, before the COVID, they was already B students, and you know, my other son, he had some C's, I think, in math, but he had to hold a certain grade point average to play sports. So he always, when he look at me, he always be like, Daddy, I know you got work all the time. I know you got work, but when you come home, you always make time for us. Like, man, I got to. What you just said, I always work. What's more important? He said, family. I said, right, what I work for, family. That's what we're about, family. And my kids, they understand that just by the things that goes on. Like and I know they see it, but without me saying it. So that's another thing. It just, I tell them all the time, like, this is what I want for y'all. I don't want y'all to have to go out here and have to fight for something or feel like you have to fight for something, because you don't.
You know, I just want to take a moment just to be still in this thought, man, because just talking to the families out out there, all right? I know a lot of times, especially up in quote unquote in the hood, or persons or beings such as us in our hue, I love to say people will call. I work on stepping away from the pronouns people call, or the nouns of black and white. It's like the color majority, because I don't like to deal with division. But in that space of awareness, when you hear about people of our hue, our color, you hear about the struggles, quote unquote, comes from the slums or coming from the hood reality. And you actually triggered a lot for me because you're from where I'm from, and I literally understand what you mean about the initiation, the acceptance, and to say that's a reality for a lot of us in different communities around, definitely in the States, but in the States with those realities, quote unquote, taking place, yet still, as I'm listening and hearing from you, you mustered up enough awareness in your space as a father that you do not want your children to go through what it is that you've went through. And in the midst of, I love your feeling and your thoughts, like it's not that you don't have to work. I don't want you to be a worker. I want you to be an entrepreneur. I want you to be able to do on your own. And, to have that example, I never had that example in front of me. Like, never had that example. And man, I had a hell of a pop, man. He did the best that he could based on circumstances and situations, what we've gone through, quote unquote, as a people, in certain given situations. But yet still, one of the things that my pop learned from his mom was the foundation that we had. And my mom's the same way. Our foundation was LOVE. And when we quote unquote didn't have, we always had. And ultimately, we always had each other. So to hear you, talking that space, man, of being able to give your children, that space of awareness of entrepreneurship and to believe in themselves. And I want you to be a kid. I want you to be a child. I want you to raise up. I was forced to be raised, as you said, when I was 5 years old.
Yes,
you know
sir.
what I mean?
Yes, sir.
So having that space of understanding and knowing, let me ask you, what are the ages of all 5 of your children?
My youngest son, he 10.
Mm-hmm.
Then the middle, he 13. Then the girl, she 14. And then
that's your twin.
Yeah. She be watching me like a hawk, I'll tell you. And my oldest boy, he's 16. Mm-hmm. And my oldest daughter, she's 20.
Ooh, yay. Yeah, oh brother, you energetically, you got some energy mixes going up in there,
I'm trying to tell you.
And coming into the teens.
Well, she on her own now. I told you she got her own place. She's doing great. It just, I wanted to stay focused. Mm-hmm. I used to listen to some of the things y'all would say. Oh, y'all in y'all 20s, this how y'all act, and we didn't act like this, And I find myself saying that now to my daughter. I'm like, what is y'all doing in y'all generation? Like, we wasn't doing this. Like, what is y'all doing? And she be like, Dad, this is what's going on. But she's doing her own, she got her own place. She's doing great. Gotta give Kiki a shout out. Gotta give it to her. She be like, Dad, why you didn't give me no shout out? But she doing great. Proud of her. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Also, we're dealing with a generation of children that are coming up, and they also had a witness that I didn't have. You didn't. No, you have. You've had it now. I've had it now as an adult, but as a child. And most folks who may be watching this video, I would have never thought, ever, that we would have had a male role model as a black president.
Oh, man.
And not only a male role model as a black president, but a father who really showed an example of what it's like to be with the children the best that he could under the circumstance situation. Not only that, man, Brother had a swag about him.
Yes, he did.
That was like, it connected to so many people, you know. So your children are being raised on a time they saw that as a possibility. We didn't have that. You know what I mean? So how do you feel about that with them having witnessed that, or did they ever talk about that? Because something when it's just to them it's normal.
Right.
Now we have a female, African, Indian, American, Native Kamala, you know, representing in that sense for little girls. Has there been any conversation around that at all?
No.
Okay, because it's just the norm.
Yeah. I mean, it's there basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is. It is.
So in regards to your music as a dad, as someone who is showing this level of care, what responsibility do you find necessary in you doing your rap? You're working with your children. What representation are you delivering, if you don't mind me asking, or you know how your response to how that may affect your children, right. and what is the contents that you're sharing out there?
They love my music. They love my music. Like I be trying to tell people, like that's what I love about being independent. I you know, my music is pretty much outspoken poetry. It's my kids. I got a song called Yay Yay. You hear me say Yay Yay all the time.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like it's the music that I do, I know that they're gonna listen to. But the music is like I tell them before, it's my life. I would rather for them to listen to it because I'm telling you what I went through. I'm telling you what I had to do. Everything I'm telling you is the truth. You don't have to do it. You don't, but I had to do it. But I can show you, I'm not gonna show you the bad side and don't show you the good side also. You know, so I pride myself on the fact that my kids don't know what it feel like to struggle. That was like big for me.
So you know, in the mind, you know, just respect to those who may be watching, to take pride into that the kids don't have to struggle. Would you say in a certain frequency, not having to struggle? Because in a lot of ways, struggle is good. Struggle has its strength. It has its way of fortifying you within inside of yourself.
I'd rather for them to struggle with their grades. I don't want them to struggle with life. I can show them the struggle with life. I am that. I can show them that. I don't want them to have to go through that. I'm not hiding them from nothing. It's just the fact that it's like how my mother said, she had to mold me. I always tell her, and she says certain things, like even when I got my first charge, she said, I didn't raise you like that. I said,
so what do you mean your first charge? What happened? If you don't mind me asking. We don't have to get into details, but.
I didn't listen.
Okay.
Then, you know, I went out, I came from basketball practice. My mother told me not to go back outside. I said I wanted to get something to eat. She said, go get something to eat and come straight back in the house. I went and got something to eat from Silver Moon and walked up the street to see my homeboys.
Okay.
Should have went straight back in the house. And I got locked up for being in the wrong place at the wrong time. All because my mother told me to go in the house. So it's like that right there, like I tell them about that story. I be like, you know, I know a lot of my homeboys, I remember when their mother would tell them stay in the house, and a lot of them didn't come back home. You know, I got locked up. So I tell my kids those, you know, I let them know, like I have to let them know, like I don't want y'all to, that right there, let me know everything. Let mommy know everything. Y'all don't have to hide nothing from me. Like, you know, I let them know that I want them to feel it. I don't want them to be like, oh, Dad, you hid this from me. We family, we don't hide nothing. The same thing you might think you could tell your homeboy, your homegirl, you could tell me, because I'm gonna tell you the right thing. I ain't gonna lie to you. Like for me, everything come back to family. Like, that's why I'm trying to tell people my life my life now is choices and decisions. I don't build it off, you know, I used to be eye for an eye, years ago, and I was like, man, this new choices and decisions, I can weigh that. I can live by my choices. I can live by my decisions.
Brother, I know a lot of people never made it back home. I mean, I'm not talking about just being incarcerated, you know, and again, disappointment as I become older in my own personal knowing. A lot of it was just based on the hue, you know, and certain circumstances, situation could have been dealt with in a manner of being a child and just needed to be talked to or checked, but being treated as an adult. I've seen and witnessed a lot. And so, you know, coming from B-more, you know, and here I am blessed to be out here in California, you know what I mean, in this little town. And, you know, and a lot of people, you know, to me, being here is somewhat like a bubble. And I don't look at it as a bubble that I wanting to feel. I'm saying this to say that, like, a lot of people say, oh, you're not living in reality. I would say I would prefer this being the reality for every child to have this experience, as opposed to having the opposite, thinking that is the norm. That you're supposed to be, you know, incarcerated, you're supposed to be abused mentally, physically, tearing down your spirits, and you witness. It becomes what you call, in some regards, the way we came up, it's like it became a survival mechanism as opposed to a hard time. It's a difference between survival, as you know, as opposed to having life struggles, you know, paying bills or taking it off. We're talking about survival. That became the norm, you know, and so yeah, so I know you really triggered something, and I'm in gratitude. Part of it is like, whoo, been away from that energy for so long, you know, in my own personal journeys during my quest, and so to hear you share, you brought up a lot. But I would love to just say, man, with the folks out there who have an opportunity to listen to this particular podcast, I'm feeling and trusting and knowing that you've awakened and also tapped into some awarenesses that I'm finding to be of great importance for us to understand our process. You know, a lot of people are not going to haven't gone through what you and I have gone through, and yet still have the opportunity to sit here, to smile, to appreciate, and, you know, and to now we can talk in subject matters that could be in a process of helping to lift people up in a different way, using our experiences to say that, no, we can still rise above.
You can. That's how I tell people that all the time. You know, but like, I always want to have something to do. I don't want to be comfortable. I don't want to get comfortable. I would say a regular person would say, pow, smack, where did this come from? I had to get, you know, so in tune with myself that when things like that happen, it just didn't matter. I had to keep going. So every day, I treat every day like that. I be like, you know, not saying that I know something's going to happen, not saying that I'm going to wish something's going to happen, but something's got to happen. I used to, again, coming from the project, that was our family. That was who we, my man. I'm willing to die for him. I'm willing, you know, and I used to try to tell him, like, I was willing to die for my friends. I didn't care what I had to do, because they would do the same thing for me. I didn't want them to do that. You shouldn't have to, why you gotta die for your friend? Your friend should want you to stay alive. You know, so I cherish that. Like, I know why I'm here.
Let me stop you for a moment. The fact that we actually have to use that terminology should not be a norm.
You're right.
You know what I mean? It's like, literally, the fact that actually have to roll off of your lips where in some communities I've gone, and I've been blessed to have moved around this planet quite a bit, to even talk dying is not even, I can name, in this town, I've never heard a child.
That was a struggle for us.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you know, like you come from West Side, like, when I was 13, I was like, you know, my homeboy didn't make it past 13, so I was like, I ain't gonna make it past 14. I was happy I made it past 14. When 15 come, I was thinking the same thing. Oh my goodness, I gotta party even harder. I made it to 15. 16 come, I'm like, oh my goodness, man, what is, it just, you know.
Oh yeah, I understand, bro. Ooh. Again, you're triggering me.
So I always say to myself, I never forget where I come from, but a person can never say I changed. I just learned to adapt to all situations. I'm still me. I still like to go out and play and have fun, but I'm just not gonna do that old stuff no more.
Yeah. I've heard you share what I feel as though the importance of family and what comes up for you when I say love, and what does that mean to you?
Love unconditional.
And what does that mean?
Meaning if you say you love somebody, it should never change because of an action. Like, for example, I was just telling one of my homeboys this. If you say you love somebody and they did something to you or they wronged you or something, and you can't sit down and talk to them about it, or y'all can't figure a way around that without it having to go somewhere where it doesn't have to go, that's not love. You know, again, my mom showed me what love was. I was young, I would do things hard-headed. I used to do things like go with my homeboys and just, they be like, come on, take a ride, and we would ride on the bikes. And I'm not knowing we're ready to go steal bikes, I'm just riding bikes. But now they're like, oh, come on, we're ready to go right here, we're gonna stop right here. Go in the yard, come back home. My mother like, where you get this bike from? Cause I left outside with another bike. She said, where you get this bike from? I said, oh, my friend, they went to the yard and got the, she was like, boy, you better take that bike back and whoop your, I'm like, Mom, what? But she still loved me. But I stole, and she still loved me. So, you know, that for me, that's what love is. It's unconditional. If you love somebody, you're supposed to, it's never supposed to change. It's supposed to stay the same, regardless.
Wow. Yeah, Mama even cleaned up your shh.
That's what you used to say? Yes, he did.
And no matter what, she was always there. You know, that's that piece where I can't even find words to describe it. Again, I really love watching your relationship and hearing your relationship with your queen and how you all converse and share in the times I've been blessed to come to your home. So what I would love to ask you, if you can just share with the audience, with those who are watching, your thoughts that you would love to leave. We've shared on a whole lot of different aspects, but is there something that you would love to just share with the audience in regards to Talk to Me, Dad?
Oh man. Be you. If you got a family, man, take care of your family. If you got somebody, man, try to work it out. It ain't you know, life is too short to be worried about, you know, what people say now, petty things. I just tell people, man, live life, man. Be you, live life, and just love yourself. You gotta love you first. Definitely.
Yeah, so coming in on closure of this Talk to Me, Dad, just want to give thanks to my beloved here, spirited brother in so many ways, and with all that you're doing out there in the community.
Yes, sir.
And your donations to some of these organizations that are working towards helping to build the community.
The community up.
And that is us being able to honor love, but not taking for granted at all this process. So we feel as though in our hearts some of the necessary things to prepare for this process. So I just want to say thank you all for your time, your effort, your spirit. I want to thank you, brother.
Thank you for
this
having me.
blessed opportunity. It's such a pleasure to me. And I'd like to go out with the aloha hug, if you don't mind, as we share in this blessing. Yeah. Appreciate it. You too, beloved.